Alright guys, so I'm gonna explain why it's so important to optimize difficulty level with your immersion. Because one of the biggest mistakes I made with Japanese at least is consuming anime, right? Too early and especially hard anime. So, with Japanese, bro, like I wanted to make a point, dude. Like I wanted to make a point where I was like, you know what, I can learn Japanese only through anime. And I'm like living proof of that. Like I'm living proof that like you can absolutely learn Japanese with only anime. But there was a lot of things that I could have done to really optimize it. Because the thing is that when you want to obtain fluency in the language, the requirements is to understand your immersion 100%, right? But the problem is, if you consume in content that's too difficult, right? What's going to end up happening is your ability to reach that 100% comprehension is going to be way longer, correct? Because you got to know more words. So that's why if you want to attain fluency in a language, and with Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis, it's not a hypothesis, it's a fact. Because like I've done it 2 freaking times, right? Like it's not even a hypothesis anymore. Like I know it's a fact, but when you understand the language at 100%, bro, you're going to be able to speak the language. You don't have to practice any speaking. Speaking is completely useless, like in the beginning. Like you got to focus only on comprehension, right? And it works, bro. But the requirements for this input hypothesis to actually function in your brain is to reach at least master one domain of language, which is basically like slice of life colloquial language. That's the easiest domain to master because it's very casual, it's informal. There's not much vocabulary that's used compared to like high level anime or like novels. So it's very limited vocab range, which means that you can attain fluency or at least 99% comprehension like relatively quickly. So, and I'm gonna explain why. I also think this is why I became so good at French so fast. Because with French, I only consumed very casual live streams, like French YouTube. I didn't even touch a book. I mean, I read like Le Comte de Monte Cristo, but like, that was only like one time. But like, I did not spend time reading in French. Like, I spent like almost all my time only listening. So I learned the language of French through only listening. Now some of you guys are like, there's no way you can learn a language through only listening. There's no way, like you have to read because you got to see the words, right? It's like, no, false. I learned it entirely through listening, right? So now my ears are like super good, which is why I developed like close to a perfect accent in French, right? It's because of that. Now, people think it's impossible to learn only through listening because, they're not consuming easy enough content. You're consuming content like like you're trying to consume like, adult podcasts where they talk about very sophisticated topics, or like you're trying to watch all this hard anime and like read all these freaking light novels. Yeah, of course you're like, doing all that with listening, bro. Yeah, no way. It's just way too many words to learn. But if you just stick to easy domain for a very long time, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to achieve fluency in that language through only listening and at a very fast rate. Because there's only so much vocab there is in colloquial language. Okay, if you're watching like slice of life TV shows or dramas, like if you're learning Korean or Japanese, if you watch slice of life TV dramas, there's only so much vocabulary before you just end up knowing all of them. There's only so much vocabulary. There's like around 10,000 words. Around 10,000 words is like, enough to basically reach 99% comprehension for like most slice of life colloquial language of like most languages, right? Like even for French YouTube, like if you wanted to master like Enoch Stugg's like live stream, or you want to be able to understand like when Squeezy or Locally, or like when they like play their games, like do their gaming live streams, like when they're playing Minecraft or Fortnite, whatever. If you want to understand 100% of that content, like you only need to know like 10,000 words, bro. Like you can achieve that only through listening very fast, because there's only so much words they use, guys. There's only so many words they use, right? So it's totally possible to reach this mastery of colloquial language and slice life language only through ears, right? Now, my problem with Japanese was I was spending a lot of my hours watching anime. And the problem with anime, right, is that most anime is intermediate to advanced level of content and language. What do I mean? Well, because if you look at a lot of anime, there's very few anime that are actually very easy, right? That are basically as easy as like slice of life, Japanese dramas, or like, slice of life like YouTube videos on YouTube, right? Like Japanese YouTube videos. There's only very few anime that are actually like that. Like for example, like there's only very few slice life anime before you end up watching all of it. Like there's like Keion, Toradora, Clannad, Horimiya. There's only so much, like there's only so many slice of life anime before you end up watching all of them like super quickly. The large majority of anime are at the advanced or intermediate levels of difficulty in terms of the Japanese language. So things like Hunter x Hunter, JoJo, right? Attack on Titan, like the Fate Stay Night series, or like even like shonen anime like Black Clover, Naruto. Like even though Black Clover, Naruto are like relatively do go towards the easy side of language, they still use like some rare vocabulary. Like you guys don't understand. Like they use some fantasy terms, they use some like literary words sometimes. So you have to learn so many words that it's like almost like impossible to try to learn this like at the same time without first mastering and focusing on colloquial language. Like guys, if you want to master all anime of all difficulty, like even mastering like an anime like Attack on Titan, right? And be able to like know all the military vocabulary, the political vocabulary, like know all the fantasy terms of ReZero. Like for you to be able to like at least reach at least 99% comprehension in those animes, like you gotta learn like literally like 20,000 words. And then if you want to reach like maybe mastery of advanced content, right? You might have to learn like 30,000 words. And then if you want to reach like light novel level of comprehension, then that's like okay. If you want to reach like then you might have to learn like 35,000 words. But what I'm saying is like there's so many words you have to learn with anime that like if you're spending all your immersion time consuming hard content, then you're spreading yourself thin because there's a lot of words that don't overlap. Like if you learn all the words in like Berserk manga, it's not going to transfer to freaking Oyasumi Punpun. Like I remember I was doing this, bro. I read Oyasumi Punpun, and right after that I went straight to Berserk. It's like completely different vocab range, like completely, bro. Not even close. Like there's so many historical, dark fantasy, political vocabulary in Berserk, and then freaking Oyasumi Punpun had a bunch of modern vocabulary that I didn't know that didn't overlap with Berserk. It's just, dude, like I was learning so many words, but for some reason I didn't feel like I was improving as fast. And I think that was because I was learning so many words that were genre specific, right? That did not overlap with other genres, right? So that's why the progress is so slow. Because, I didn't even master the basics yet. What I should have done with anime is I should have just like, okay, if I'm going to learn Japanese, like, I should have just immersed in like, slice of life Japanese dramas, right? Or like slice of life anime. And get really, really, really good at that, right? And I know like, Japanese dramas kind of suck. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like they're not as good as other like languages, but just freaking suck it up, okay? Because this is how you get good, all right? Because anime is good because it has a lot of good content, but the problem is a lot of the content is hard. It's too hard for you guys to try to even touch. You guys shouldn't even be like, I should be saying this. You guys shouldn't even touch anime unless you have become undeniably fluent in Japanese. And when I mean by fluent, I mean like conversational fluent, which means that you can go to the country and speak to anyone and you understand like basic conversational Japanese and colloquial Japanese. Unless you've mastered that, don't even touch anime. Don't even touch those types of content because they're just way too hard, right? They're way beyond the scopes of what you can imagine of vocabulary. So that's why like I kind of take back like what I said. Like, yeah, if I had to redo Japanese, I wouldn't even touch anime. I would only watch like slice life anime, and that'll be it, bro. And I'll just maybe go on to like watching slice of life Japanese dramas, or like maybe watch some like YouTube videos that are like slice of life, right? And just only stick to that, right? And then once I master slice of life content, then guess what? Then I can go start up the ladder of anime. Then I can start out with like the easy battle shonen anime, learn a couple fantasy words, learn a couple battle adventure words. Okay, master that. Then go up a little bit. Okay, Attack on Titan realm, like Hunter x Hunter like vocabulary. Okay, a little bit harder. I gotta learn these domain specific words, and just climb the ladder from there, right? But like, don't even try to immerse in anime, like especially like Attack on Titan, bro. Like if you haven't even mastered like slice of life content, like please don't even try, because I did it and it was a lot of work, but it was just very unorganized. Like I was just learning a bunch of vocab that was like irrelevant to each other, so I was basically like a silent expert. Like what does that mean? It means that like you end up putting yourself in a position where you know a ton of words, but you can't even speak the language. And the reason why this happens is because you spend so much of your time immersing in hard content that you never quite reach the 99% comprehension threshold for you to actually develop fluency. The only way to develop fluency, guys, is to immerse in content that you understand 99%. It's only until you immerse a significant time, like immersing in content that you understand literally everything, that you start to develop the fluency. Now, most people will be like, oh, but if I immerse in content I understand like 100%, like I'm not improving. It's like, you don't get the point. Yes, you're not improving in vocab, but your fluency is improving. What do I mean? Well, like I said, with Stephen Krashen's hypothesis, which is not really a hypothesis, it's a fact, once you reach 100% comprehension, now your brain can focus on internalizing the grammar, internalizing the vocab. Because how is your brain supposed to internalize something that it can't understand? It has to first understand everything before it can internalize everything. All right? And the everything that you should, and the language that you should be putting and internalizing into your brain is everyday colloquial Japanese that they speak on the streets, which is perfect for, watching like slice of life Japanese dramas or slice of life anime. Those types of shows use everyday casual Japanese, right? So only focusing on those types of shows like are good. Or, Japanese sports anime. So like if you guys really just like anime, then only stick to like Slam Dunk, Haikyuu, iShow 21, Hajime no Ippo, right? Even though these do go into anime, the anime is like within sport. So that means the language is very easy, right? So because it's set in modern times, it's it's still casual, it's still everyday life. It just might be a little bit dramatic when it comes to like the matches with volleyball or like soccer or like whatever, right? So if you guys just really love anime and you want to be able to like master slice of life colloquial Japanese, then slice life anime or sports anime are perfect. Sports anime, sports manga are perfect. Even though those mangas do contain some rare literary words, it's only like a little bit. Like it's like they sprinkle it in, right? So it shouldn't really like be too hard. But I think if you really just want to watch anime, like I would have told myself to only watch sports anime and slice life anime and only that. And only only that for a while. Don't even touch the other genres. Don't even touch fantasy. Don't even touch Attack on Titan. Because that's way too hard for you guys to do, right? Because when you focus on such a narrow domain, you get good really fast. You guys don't understand. When you only focus on slice life content, you can learn the first 10,000 vocab like this with only ear, like I did with French. You guys think you guys don't think it's possible that how am I supposed to learn the language with only ears and listening? It's like you can. I did it with French, but it only under the condition that you're consuming easy colloquial slice life content. Because the moment you try to go outside of that, the moment you try to watch like a historical drama, the moment you try to go into books, you're done. Like it's just going to take way too long, right? So that's why optimizing for difficulty is very vital, because there's a difference between developing fluency in a language and developing comprehension in a language. They counteract each other, right? One works against the other. If you want to achieve fluency, you have to watch content you understand 100%. But this goes against domain vocab expansion. If you want to expand your vocabulary, you're going to plateau with this because you understand everything. But this is necessary for fluency. Whereas the other one, if you're just constantly trying to expand your vocabulary, you're never going to get to a point where you have the chance to develop the fluency because you're so focused on learning new grammar patterns, new vocabulary. So you end up becoming a silent expert, which means that you know a lot of words, but you just don't know how to use them. You don't know how to like be fluent. Like you already know enough words to be fluent. Because you're so busy reading hard books and hard anime, you never actually quite develop the ability to be fluent in Japanese. Do you guys understand? If you want to develop the fluency, you have to watch content that you virtually understand everything. Okay? And it might not seem productive. I know it might not seem productive because you understand everything. You're like, how am I supposed to learn from this TV show? I understand everything. That's the point. Because it's only once you understand everything that then you can develop the fluency for you to actually speak fluently. I think this is like one of the biggest mistakes I made, because it took me 2.5 years for me to finally get like fluent in Japanese, right? In basic conversation. I was like, why did it take me 2.5 years? It didn't make any sense. And now I understand why. It's because I was immersing in content that was way too hard, right? So I was basically like mastering all these domains, but a master in none. So I was a jack of all trades, but a master in none. But if you want to develop fluency, you got to master one. So pick one genre, master that, and then go and spread your buckets in different domains and master the different domains of language that Japanese anime has to offer, or like, different languages has to offer. But first, master the slice of life. First, and stick to it for a very long time. Because this is going to develop undeniable fluency very fast. Like, I would have became fluent in Japanese in a year. Like, the typical AJET timeline is like a year and a half or like 2 years. You don't even need that, bro. Nah. If you're trying to reach true fluency in conversation and colloquial Japanese, spoken Japanese, ignoring reading, you can be good in like a year. You can develop fluency, like near native fluency of conversation, specifically conversation, within a year by just only doing listening. And I'm able to do it, and I did this with French. So I know it's true. Okay? So I want you guys to keep that in mind. All right? So so that's the thing. Optimizing for difficulty is one of the most important aspects of the language, because I spent like roughly 6,000 hours with Japanese, but I would have gotten significantly more progress had I optimized the difficulty like during that time. Like, it would have been, I had 6,000 hours. It would have been better if I spent the first 2,000 hours consuming easy content like slice life anime, slice life dramas, sports, anime, manga, and then spend the next 2,000 hours watching, fantasy anime, maybe diverging a little bit into different genres, but still keeping it at an intermediate level, and then spend the last 2,000 hours light novels, harder anime, things like that. This would have been the optimized order instead of immersing in everything at once. Like, I was immersing at everything at the same time, right? Whether it be from hard to easy, like, I didn't give a fuck, bro. I was immersing in anything, bro. Whoa, that was a mistake, bro. That was a huge mistake. Don't even do that, bro. Guys, don't even try doing that. Immerse, easy for the first 2,000 hours, then for the next 2,000 hours, intermediate, and then for the next 2,000 hours, hard. And I would have gotten better fluency with the same amount of time. The same time, 6,000 hours of active immersion, same time, better results. And it all has to do with optimizing the level of difficulty as you progress. So yeah, guys, just keep that in mind.